My father came out of the Yechidus and made a decision never to ask the Rebbe anything physical. You go to the Rebbe going for spirituality. You don't go for physicality. Every Yechidus did not let him speak about spirituality. I mean, they got into this, but the opening conversation was only about, how you doing, how's your family, how's business, and it was much more physical. And if you look at it, this is really part of the method that the Rebbe always talked about with him. Is the physical world, the physical existence, the be connected to the world, take more projects.
Welcome to Homesick for Lubavitch, a podcast where we explore Lubavitch identity in the year 2025. My name is Bosi Lgani, and I will be your host. Let's begin. Alrighty, we are here with Rabbi Meni Even Israel. Or do you go with Rabbi Steinsaltz?
Even Israel.
Even Israel.
35 years.
35 years.
Not the rabbi part, the Even Israel part.
And the rabbi part?
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are here early in the morning in Yerushalayim with Rabbi Meni Even Israel in the Steinsaltz Center. Thank you very much for making the time.
My pleasure.
And this is a part of a very, very fun trip to Eretz Yisrael, and hope to make it even more fun.
I'll do the best I can.
Yes.
To accommodate you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, before we begin, all those listening who enjoy the podcast, please like and subscribe on the various platforms. And those who really like it, please support the podcast at hflpodcast.com/donate. Anyway, Rabbi Meni, why don't we begin at the beginning? There's a lot to talk about, obviously, and I don't know if you want to talk all about your father. I don't know. We'll see.
Any way you like, sir, I'll play the game.
You'll play the game.
I've been doing this for a while, talking about what I am, what my father, the differentiation, if they exist.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Obviously not in quality, in the context of what we do.
Well, clearly, if you are working in the Steinsaltz Center, you're not running away from it. You're not running away from it, but I'm sure you have your own story as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, everybody heard of your father. I grew up hearing about him from someone who I think was very close to him. And they had a very interesting relationship. You probably know more about it than I do.
Not a lot about the relationship itself. I know they had a relationship. It's not like they shared information. Both of them were very much Polacks in the mental level of it. Like, we don't share what you don't have to know.
What you're saying with kids? With each
anybody.
other? Or with each other?
No. Each other, I think that they had shared more. But like with the kid, I don't know how much information you had. If you were not there with them, you didn't know it exists.
My grandfather would tell me stories. My grandfather told me stories.
No, absolutely. But I'm saying, that was story when it happened. It's not like they had a relationship like we have today. I saying, yeah, what's up? How you doing? How's your family? It was like when they met together. Absolutely.
When they met together, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, my grandfather would speak about your father a lot. So it's I think I met your father once in the Tzemach Tzedek shul on Shabbos morning, but it's nice to meet you as a hemshech to that. So, but why don't you talk about? I mean, when it comes to your father, at least from how I've seen it or from what I've observed, and you'll tell me what you think about this. Your father, to me, was always the ultimate insider-outsider, or outsider-insider. There's always this kind of binary of people who are on the inside and there are people on the outside. And then I think the sweet spot is actually to be on the inside and the outside at the same time. Right. And, your father, you have a big picture here. He's wearing a hat. He looks like a chassid. He's not trying to not look like a chassid. Right?
Absolutely not.
But he also had his own mind.
His own mind, his own ideas, his own thing where he I don't know how deep this podcast goes. Who knows? I mean, but he had
As deep as a marble.
Yeah, some things that you I don't want to say disagree, but he disagreed with the Rebbe
Yeah.
on topics or certain concept. My father always conceded his opinion to the Rebbe's in the end,
Right.
but they had a conversation, and
Right.
more so, as far as we know. Again, we're limited of the knowledge we actually have. The Rebbe, this is a term of this in Hebrew. It's called to break the distance. That when you need to go to the Israeli army, not that I went, but it's confirmed, is that in the first, in your training, you have distance. You cannot, I presume that's in every army in the world. You're not allowed to talk to your commander by his first name. You're not allowed to,
Right.
it's yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. But from time to time, after you finish your first training or higher level, the distance is broken, so to speak,
Right.
and you can talk more friendly. And several times, at least that's what my father told me, but I heard from other people, the Rebbe told him, speak freely.
Like private, when they were
When they were
private.
private, but even one time I know in public, that the conversation was, I heard what everybody else saying, I know their opinion, I got it, but you tell me talk to me.
Right.
And you can see it, that the way my father had a tremendous respect of the Rebbe in every possible level. I'm talking about the old-fashioned Hasidim. They came in, every perspective of the way it's supposed to be done. Never sit with the Rebbe. All the least of things that Hasidim did. But there were times when the Rebbe told them, talk.
Right.
Don't hold back. Tell me the way it is. And sometimes they argued, and sometimes they, again, I don't put it in the same equal level. The Rebbe is the Rebbe, and my father is my father. Yeah, let's make sure that people understand this. The Rebbe was the highest you can get, at least as far as I've seen in this particular world of ours. My father was good, up there, but not at the same level.
Right.
But when they talked, they really had a relationship that was much more personal and private, and so on and so forth. I think no other person, again, as far as I know, and my knowledge is limited, had this kind of keruvim demands. As far as I know, we have a unique story, as far as I know, about changing the name. Very famous story, but I don't know anybody else that the Rebbe told him to change his name, his last name, first name. Brachas, change in refuah, I got it.
Right, so it used to be Even Israel.
Used to be Steinsaltz.
Oh, it used to be Steinsaltz.
Right, and the Rebbe told us to change it. And my father chose with the Rebbe Even Israel. That was a few months later.
So your father changed to Even Israel?
Yes, originally it was Steinsaltz.
See, we kept the Steinsaltz Center, but...
Kept the Steinsaltz Center because one of my predecessor here as a CEO came to the Rebbe crying that they can't sell anything. And can he keep the name, at least on the professional level?
Because that's how he's known in the world.
Right. So, but his personal thing, and I can share this later, his passport, his papers, his ID, all of them had only Even Israel. They had nothing. They had no Steinsaltz. He changed his signature. I don't know if you ever signed, today people sign everything online, but when you sign hundreds and thousands signature a year, because on books and so on, and you change your signature, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Rebbe asked something that, as far as I know, didn't ask from anybody.
You explained why?
No. Just the Rebbe.
Just one day he told him...
My father went with the Rebbe. It's a very famous video. Came the Rebbe, and the Rebbe told him from Tsar Agra. He did some Tzoros then. And when the Rebbe went out, the Rebbe called him back again. And, traditionally, that's referring to a new audience. Referring, the Rebbe... When he called you back, it's represented a new conversation. He said, I don't like to interfere in people's life. However, and told him to change the name. Again, it was very, very nice. And because my mother just passed away, when she moved, when the Rebbe, after he told my father to change the name, which was a shock by itself. Think about it. This is a guy that he's a brand name.
Right.
It's a brand name. This is not Mr. Cohen.
Right.
The guy, people know him as Steinsaltz, and the Rebbe told him, change the name. So the Rebbe turned around to my mother, and he says, of course, with the permission of the wife, Yeah, the Rebbe was very clear. Obviously, my mother come from a family, so it was not, obviously it was not a good conversation.
Yeah, because the Gezer always listen. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, sure, but then do whatever they want. Listen, yeah, very well, but it's part of the game, right? Part of the way you look. So the Rebbe had this kind of relationship with him, with my father, that was, in my view, different than others. As far as we know, as far as I know, again, I'm not done my research on this. It's only still going through my father papers and documents, and there's more to do here. The Rebbe interfered in my father's life probably 16 or 17 times. Talking about interference, not a bracha for, morning, Sunday afternoon. When interfere in issues that are personal, and the Rebbe interfered and said, give you this instruction, that instructions. And I think it's unique.
This year marks 75 years since Yud Shvat and the first Bosi Lgani. If you're looking for an event that is memorable, meaningful, and affordable, let me recommend This World is a Garden, a film and live concert production created by us here at Yuvla Media, inspired by Bosi Lgani, the first mimer, the Rebbe said. If you're a regular here at HFL, you know that Bosi Lgani is something that we think about and talk about a lot. And in this production, we use the power of cinematic filmmaking and a live concert by a string quartet to bring the beauty of Bosi Lgani to your community and your audience in a way that they've never seen, heard, or experienced it before. The production has already been hosted by Chabad houses around the country and has drawn wonderful reviews. Our package comes with everything that you need to put in the production: the film's original arrangements for string quartet, publicity materials, everything besides the string quartet, which we recommend that you hire locally to save on travel costs. To find out more about this production, please visit thisworldisagarden.com. Again, thisworldisagarden.com. And now, back to the show. It also seems unique that he was not embarrassed of it.
No.
He's not embarrassed of it. He's known for this, so I think it's clearly unique. He's known for it. Why would he be known for it if it was common? It's not common. I think, see, the interesting thing is I don't think that in itself makes you an outsider. It makes you an insider. You have a very personal relationship with the Lubavitcher Rebbe, then you're an insider.
Right.
The problem is when you're the only one that has that kind of relationship vis-a-vis the other people, the other Chassidim,
right.
You're an outsider.
True,
right?
Very true. And my father also didn't care.
No, I understand that was famous, but you do end up in this place. The famous thing, which I don't have to tell you about, is the speech that he gave, I think, after Hey Tevis, right? But in 770, it's on video.
Yud Shvat.
It was Yud Shvat after Hey Tevis.
That was the day, if I remember correctly, it's the day before the Rebbe told him to change your name.
And that was after Hey Tevis, right?
Yeah, it's not true. It's Tafshin Nun.
Oh, Tafshin Nun, okay. So I thought it was the year of Hey Tevis. And he gives a speech in 770 telling everybody that you guys are out of your mind, basically.
You're not doing enough. I think that's the right terminology. You're out of your mind. But
it was a little bit more sharp.
Yeah, he used all the right term. And instead, the biggest, usually we expect when somebody come from the outside, they will speak in Hebrew or in English.
Right.
He spoke in Yiddish. Nobody could claim that the game is not on. Everybody was very clear where is he heading. But if you look on the Rebbe wording afterward, that's what the Rebbe basically said. I want you to duplicate what you do. I want you to, whatever you have is very limited. Basically, the famous speech of the Rebbe,
right.
I did whatever I can.
Right.
Now it's your job. It's the same speech. Just a few years later, but it's the same speech.
But that's not what your father was saying. Your father was saying that people are not being serious.
Right, but that's the point. What's the Rebbe saying? What are you doing? You didn't manage to do anything forward. It's not the same speech.
No, but to me, it seemed like your father was frustrated. Like I'm kilo on this team of Lubavitchers, or this group, and you guys seem like a bunch of jokesters. Like where are the people who are serious?
Right. So what's the difference between this and do whatever you can? The same language.
Because it's not like he's not like.
Not trying to encourage you.
Like Fabrengians, you have to do this, you have to do that, and like this seemed like it really bothered him.
Absolutely.
Like almost. Maybe it is the same thing. I think it's just more I think it's more this thing of insider outsider. If I bring in, we all know the game. We're all in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the game is to say X, Y, Z, and to kvetch and to berate ourselves, and then we continue on with our lives. We go back to
definitely not. Again, but that's the reason I look at it as the same, because if you're looking now past,
come a bit close to the mic.
If you're looking now past Tafshin and Dalet, okay, after Rebbe and Steinsaltz, why is now Lubavitch 8 times the size? What happened?
Right.
We got the memo. Rebbe is no longer here. We have to move around. Isn't that what happened? It's exactly what happened. In that perspective, there's many other reasons for it, but why didn't we have 4,000 shluchim Tafshin and Dalet? Why didn't have? Forget it. 4,000. There was not enough human beings. Okay, but let's say, why were we not 2,000?
Right.
I mean, we know the amount of shluchim were there. Again, I don't know the exact number. I'm sure we can find out. The amount of shluchim were there when Tafshin and Dalet. Gimel Tam Dalet were X, and now this X is 4 times, 5 times. Who knows how many?
Right.
This comes to shluchim in 2 weeks. We can see the pictures.
Yeah.
Start counting heads.
Yes.
That happened as a result of the Rebbe saying, basically, his major last speech. I did whatever I can. Right. I brought my queen or king all the way to the other side. Guys, if you're not going to move forward, nothing going to happen.
Right.
If you look in the world around us, no Jewish organization who's respecting himself doesn't look about you says, this is outstanding. It's unbelievable. A movement that had the prediction, definitely by other Jewish organization, was Lubavitch will collapse. Literally, that was the conversation on the street, saying, look how big it is. I'm just saying that my father wording in that sikha was basically the same concept. Said, look, we have potential. What he tried to say in the sikha is, look, in that his speech was, I'm one person. I ran 2 schools. I ran a yeshiva in Russia. I ran this tremendous project of the Talmud in Hebrew and French and English. I have projects from here to the wazoo. I'm one person. You have an army. What's going on?
Right.
So in a lot of ways, only an outsider can say it, but only an outsider can understand the inside.
Right.
Play games of it. And I think that was his biggest benefit. He was, again, in and out.
But did he really believe that regular Lubavitchers were gonna? Look, your father had kisherness that most people did not have.
True.
But see, he wasn't. I don't think he was expecting people, other people, to do what he was doing. But I think what he probably meant, if I had to guess, is that people are not taking themselves seriously.
Sure.
Right. You have a potential that you're not actualizing. Right.
Yes.
You may not be me.
Right. But you're not even you.
Right. Correct. Did you really think that they? So it's not just that there's. Can you be that without taking a step outside and being an outsider? As so long as you're in the soup, can you ever become your own
chicken?
Correct.
It's a good question. I'm not sure that you can or you cannot, but is the question. Let's take a step backward. Let's say today, okay, when we know the situation is, we know who's in the soup, outside the soup, who's playing near the soup, who's playing the steak, whatever it is. Is there ever a conversation where we're going? Is anybody coming in and said, listen, Lubavitch should do A, B, C, D? We are Lubavitch, we should do A, B, C, D? Nobody does that. Not in that, at least not in the global...
Right.
And I think my father had this dream, that the movement can become even more powerful, which clearly did. There's no difference. There's a question. There's not even a question about it. Movement did move forward.
Right.
I mean, I try to talk as much as I can to Jewish organizations, which is very entertaining.
Right.
And a lot of time they look at Lubavitch with envy. I know maybe it's not, but they look at Lubavitch with envy. I had a conversation here with one of the neighbors of his, the Mizrahi.
Right.
And they ask questions about the future of the Mizrahi movement and what I perceive. I said, look, you understand, you can't compare it to Lubavitch. They have a built-in army.
Right.
When I graduated yeshiva, there was Migdalai Mektavshin and Daled. How many Lubavitchers graduated that year? 100? 200?
Right.
How many graduates we have now? 1,000? How many yeshivas are there? How many bochim are there now graduating Shur Daled? 1,000? More or less?
Yeah.
Worldwide?
Probably
That's
more.
I'm just being nice and polite. People should graduate.
But if I'm gonna play devil's advocate, yes, I know I can over here, but if I'm gonna play devil's advocate, the numbers actually don't translate. Meaning, compared to the number of people who are graduating, like there are more shluchim in relative numbers,
Right.
but in absolute, there are more shluchim in absolute numbers. But relative to the amount of people that are
Much
graduating,
less.
it's
Much
a
less.
smaller percentage, and it's actually shrinking. Like there's no question that the measurement of more Chabad houses is legitimate, meaning it's a real thing, and it does speak to something. And there's also no question that by Gimel Tammuz, many people, within and without, predicted that it would collapse. So I don't mean to minimize it, because you can't minimize it. But I also don't know that it's a stand-in and a complete answer to this critique that your father was making. I think it's an easy answer that a lot of people give. Lubavitch slept because there's a lot of Chabad houses. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, but
I don't know that. I simply don't know that the math bears it out.
I don't know. We can check it out.
No, because compared to the amount of people coming out of yeshivas, numbers are shrinking.
Right, no, but I'm trying to say the reason I talk about yeshivas, I'm saying that we have the Lubavitch has endless amount of soldiers.
But most of them are not going to the army.
I agree, but again, like the real army should be 20% going in. So let's say even 10%. The amount that you can now have, let's say tomorrow morning, Lubavitch need 100 shluchim, 100.
Right.
We'll take, a week to recruit them? Let's say we have all the money in the world, etc., and they have a position. Take a week to recruit 100?
Probably,
right? Well, other organizations don't even have that feasibility.
Right.
And that's a big deal. Again, but we're going back to this, and again, that my father's perspective, it tremendous awe to the Rebbe. Tremendous. You can see even that famous picture behind in front of me, behind you, is that when he comes in, you see he's putting his head down. He's very much humbled by the Rebbe. And that was his perspective.
What attracted him to the Rebbe at the beginning?
I presume the mind, the brilliancy of the Rebbe.
He never spoke to you about it?
Oh no, I asked him. He didn't answer. It's different. I actually went to my father with a pen and paper, and I asked my father, okay, please tell me, because I don't think we're going to have the next opportunity. This is 2015, 14. And I told him, about a year and a half before his stroke, and I said, Father, not in this language, but Abba, please tell me what happened in your Yechidus.
Well, which Yechidus?
All Yechidus. I went to my father, let's go through the years and you tell me. He said, no.
He said,
And the conversation went over. A bit longer than that. He told me all this kind of, little things.
Right.
But nothing, he didn't talk. One thing he said is very interesting. He said that he made a decision after his first meeting with the Rebbe, with Tafshin Lamed. It was the first time he saw the Rebbe, first time he visited the Rebbe.
At that point, he was already...
He's already established person. He's already have the Gemara, the first Gemara is out. He has already letters from the Rebbe, already instructions from the Rebbe.
He considers himself Lubavitcher at this point?
I don't think he ever considered himself Lubavitcher. He considered himself the Rebbe Chassid.
Was he wearing a hat?
He was wearing a hat, but that was not, those days was not as bad.
Right.
It was a different time.
A capoto he was wearing?
I don't remember. I don't Tafshin Lamed now. I don't think so. I think it was Kapota came later.
You weren't around the Tafshin Lamed, were you?
No, I came around Tafshin Lamed Dalet. So I really cannot tell you what happened. No, but I think it's Kapota came later in the 80s.
So you married your mother was not Altsal Lubavitcher per se?
No, but the famous story about that is that he already gave a class in Yerushalayim, in the President House, called Chugel Mishnat Chen. It was a very famous class, was given by Rav Avram Chen, alav shalom, and when he stopped teaching, my father took over. A long story who took it, but...
Your father was close to Avram Chen?
Yes, my father was close to Shazar.
Right.
My father was, from all perspective, father was his rabbinical liaison.
Right.
Right? He was it. He was his rabbi. He was his teacher. And when he started teaching the class, he never met the Rebbe before. He had a conversation with the Rebbe. He had not emails, keep forgetting, there's no emails then, mail and letters and telegrams that went by in and out. But so when my father, by then already, was known quantity, his Chassidus level was known. My grandfather, Reb Chaim Lazimov, when my father came to Paris to get engaged to my mother, so they asked my father to give a class in Tanya. And my father gave a class Tanya in the Zibitzik, in the 17. And my grandfather said afterward that he's been teaching and learning Tanya for 50 years before, 40 years before. He said, I never heard anybody teach out Tanya like this. It was a level of beyond level that he understood that the men really comprehended.
What attracted him to Tanya in the first place?
His teachers. The teachers that he chose to become his teachers were Lubavitchers,
like
not
who?
only
Like
Rav Sasonkin, Rav Eliezerov. There were two major figures here. His experience in yeshiva in Lud was done with Chaim Shalom.
Homesick for Lubavitch is brought to you by Yuvla Media, a boutique video production company servicing the Chabad and Jewish community. Since opening 10 years ago, Yuvla Media has pushed the boundaries of artistic and thoughtful storytelling in the community, with an insistence on there always being a memorable story as well as a beautiful and striking visual image that we believe is second to none. Over the years, we have worked with Chabad organizations around the country, as well as large organizations like Boni Olam, Torah Masora, and Atzalathon, guided by the belief that your story is absolutely worth telling with depth and creativity. If you are looking to tell your story with a video, please reach out to us at hello@yuvlamedia.com. Again, that is hello@yuvlamedia.com. A link can be found in the show notes. And now, back to the podcast. Just one second. So clearly I don't know enough about your father. I always thought that he grew up completely secular, correct?
Yeah, but again, this is the 60s in Israel, 50s in Israel. The world is different then.
No, but he grew up in a family. What kind? He grew up.
It was a secular family completely.
His parents were secular academics.
No, they're not academic. They were communists.
Communists.
Yes, not academic as much as communists.
What,
yes.
kibbutzniks?
Not really. They were involved with it. No, my grandfather was real communist. He made the Aliyah to Israel in 1924 and 26 as a communist Zionist.
A communist Zionist from Russia.
From Poland. From Warsaw.
So your father grew up in a communist home, and then what happened?
But my grandfather always insisted. I'm just trying to find this. Always insisted that he will have good Jewish education. As the line of the family was, it's better to be an apikoros than an amaretz. We don't mind heretics. Heretics we like. It's the ignoramus and the idiots that we cannot handle.
Right.
So that was my grandfather's line, and he sent him to a very good high school in Israel called Yerushalayim, called Ma'aleh, which was, in our modern terms, would be a modern Orthodox school. It was not modern Orthodox. There was no modern yet to the term Orthodox. It was Orthodox school.
Right.
Again, the boys and girls, that was small and limited, but again, it was very, content-wise, it was very important, but it was a religious school, so to speak.
Right.
Then when my father was, again, and I heard 3 different stories about 12, 14, or 15, he attached him Talmud teacher. Teach him Talmud.
Who attached him? Your Zayda?
My grandfather. Attached him Talmud. And he said the same line. I don't mind you be a heretic, but ignoramus you cannot be. You cannot be an amaretz.
So your father started learning Gemara only at 12, 13, 14?
Maybe 14, 15, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But my father had a photographic memory, or very close to it. So everything he read, everything he kept in his mind. He kept meticulously so what he learns every day. Gemara, Mishnah, Tanakh, Rambam, Tanya, Midrashim, Zohar, whatever you want. The whole list of it, what he learned every single day. And he kept a list of it, what he did, what he didn't. Again, the memory was unbelievable.
Right.
So when he decided that he's finishing high school, I think it was 16, 17, he went to yeshiva for about 3 weeks. That was his whole experience in yeshiva world. 3 weeks, maybe 3.
Just like like a Mayanot summer, like.
Yeah, Mayanot summer. Yeah, it was a bit. I think Shlomo Chaim was not like the Shlomo Chaim Gesselman. Well, I should be very happy about the comparison, but You know, it was a bit more serious, I presume, then. I mean,
Are you sure?
no, but it seemed like he was more serious of a person with Shlomo Chaim.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. My
Wait.
father appreciated that he
Right.
was a serious man and he has the ability to move people forward
Right.
in his own way. A bit rough, but yeah. So my father's experience was different.
So why did he go to Lubavitch Yeshiva in Lud?
Because again, he's too mashpim, so to speak.
In the school in Mala?
No, that was he was a bit older. But
in Yerushalayim,
in Yerushalayim, in the area, the people that he met. Look,
so he took a liking to these Lubavitchers.
And this it seems to him.
Yeah.
Look.
So you went to Lud for 3 weeks?
That's the entire story. Again, he came to visit after, back and forth.
But that
his
was
yeshiva experience 3 weeks.
Why didn't he stay more?
I think he thought it's useless. What do you mean more? Look, in the end of the day,
Where did he go after that?
University.
University's not useless, or you needed a degree?
He wanted a degree, and he did biology and chemistry, so it was not easy degree, so to speak. In Hebrew then, it was even harder than today. No, but I think he wanted his freedom. Shiva is very constraining. If you are a free person,
Right.
Shiva is the place you don't want to be.
Right.
You have to wake up in the morning, go to Sdorim, you don't listen. I presume the Mashpim then was exactly Mashpim now. Mashgichim were the same.
Right.
You know, you have to go, you have to wake up. I presume they didn't give you punishments then for giving you $10 knasses, whatever.
Well, who had $10?
Yeah, exactly. But probably 10 agurot or whatever it is. Zolti. But I'm saying, in the end of the day, he did his experience and he grew and he. Again, I think if you have a memory that is unbelievable.
Right.
And you have abilities that are unbelievable. I mean, I met other people who have photographic memory or tremendous memory, but they never used it. They never knew how to harness it properly.
Correct.
He did. He did it very, very well. He had a tremendous concentration skills. You know, we talk about avoida. I mean, it was the really term. The Lubavitch used to talk about this, vil avoida, in the sense of concentrating on davening. My father used to pray for hours. Not on every day. Every day you daven very quickly, but Shabbos daven for hours. And when I asked him about it, he did talk about the idea that how you develop concentration for a longer period of time than just 2.5 seconds. And he managed to develop it. He writes to my mother in one of the letters when we engaged that should not be worried if you see me standing near a window for 5 hours without moving. That was his abilities. So that was Lubavitch was different then. The Rebbe decision.
Lubavitch was different. Your father was different.
But also Lubavitch was different. The Chochma Bina Das was much more serious then.
You think so?
Yeah, I see it from the Rebbe Sichos. Rebbe, I presume again, it's my presumption. Again, not knowledgeable enough.
This is
Too young.
I published a disclaimer already
Yeah.
on the podcast. It's
That-
okay. That we don't know anything, and
we assume what we assume.
Yes, correct.
Right. So my assumption is that if you look in the Rebbe Sichos of the beginning years, they're much deeper. I mean, they're much deeper.
Yeah.
They're bringing, first of all, the Yiddish is harder, the terms are harder. Rebbe talks about much more Kabbalah. It's much more Chassidus, much more demands a
I
person.
mean, the non-ultimate basis sichos they're hard to decipher.
Right, but I'm talking about to go back to Yud Aleph.
No, but I'm saying at the last years, they get pretty.
Yeah, but they're not hard. They different. They're not. The language is not hard. Is what the
Right.
Rebbe wants is hard. It's different. But here, the Rebbe used a much higher pedestal.
No, I agree. That's how it looks to me also.
Right. So I presume a person like my father wears a great brain,
Right.
and he's looking for people to talk with.
Right.
A lot of people that equal or above equal. Somebody you can look up to.
Right.
Who are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go?
You're saying the Rebbe was a person who he could be impressed by.
Yeah. Look up to and give. When the Rebbe gave advice, he took it. He understood the Rebbe had two parts to it.
So why did it take him so many years to? You said he came to Yechidus and Tavshel Lamed.
As you said before, there was no money, man.
It was a money thing.
Sure, and it was a health thing, and it was very hard for him.
Uh-huh.
I think that was the second time he left Eretz Israel. One was get engaged, I think, and this was the second time. And he didn't go on his behalf. He went on behalf of the Shazar. He went to the Sefer Torah Shel Mashiach, right? Not Tafshin Lamed.
That's when he went?
He was sent by Shazar, his representative, to the Rebbe for the Sefer Torah Shel Mashiach.
Uh-huh.
That's the first time.
So that was the first time he saw the Rebbe.
First time he saw the Rebbe, but this is after the Rebbe already interfered in his life.
So what? So you said so he came to Yechidus and
when it came to Yechidus, so they start talking, right? So we know the conclusion of it from the Rebbe perspective, right? Finally, didn't talk about it.
how do we know
Because the Rebbe wrote to Shazar
that?
he saw many more qualities in him that he was even told about. My father came out of the Yechidus and made a decision never to ask the Rebbe anything physical.
Why? This.
The Rebbe going for spirituality. You don't go for physicality. And you know what the Rebbe did. That's what my father did tell me. Every Yechidus, they did not let him speak about spirituality.
Did not let him.
I mean, they got into this, but the opening conversation was only about, how you're doing, how's your family, how's business, and it was much more physical.
Very interesting.
If I say it seemed like the Rebbe knew it, like he made a decision, and Rebbe, but no, it's my way.
Very interesting. So your father wanted to spiritualize the Rebbe almost.
Yeah, in
to
that
spiritualize
sense.
the relationship, and the
No, and it's funny because one of the last things the Rebbe told my father, right, was that he told him the Fum Tsar Agra. Father went to a little controversy with the local Litvaks. And
they're very hard to get into a fight with.
yeah, they're very, very polite, kind mind. And but he suffered from it tremendously. When they went through the Rebbe,
What they were coming after him for being
for the Gemara. No, for the Gemara. So they came forward about the claim was Tzura Sadaf, which of course there's no holiness and it's all made up nonsense, and we know the Gemara's look for the years. That was the Mishugat.
Your father didn't enjoy this controversy?
No, it was very painful, and
why he felt?
No, first of all, the threats are life. I mean, women they
threatened his life.
We got phone calls at home. It was a terrible ordeal. It was really hard times.
Uh-huh.
It didn't last long, but it's 3-4 weeks that you get bombarded every day. Phone calls, curses on the phone, spitting in the street.
Pashkvil? They did some
Pashkvil in the entire project.
Oh wow! You got the whole Meshar
but it wasn't even Meshar. It was more done by outside sources above that.
Panovich.
Yeah, that area. But when he came to the Rebbe told him, went back once and said, "From Tsar Agra, according to the pain, according to the suffering, the reward." It was the first time. My father nodded his head. Second time, I think the Rebbe told him this. Almost sure it was the second time. The Rebbe told my father, "No, where's the Agra?" The Rebbe told my father, "No." So my father said, "Maybe Efsha Boilam Haba." He said, "No, here in this world, I'm still waiting." But that was the relationship. Every time my father, it seems like it was a normal, common practice. My father wants spirituality. The Rebbe said the physical world is very important. And if you look at it, this is really part of the method that the Rebbe always talked about with him. Is the physical world, the physical existence, the be connected to the world, take more projects. It's more spiritual. It's more physical, not spiritual.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's where I look at it. And because my father...
was your father makabel this in the end? He saw this as something that he had like what did he explain what this taught him? No, he didn't. But I think what meant to him, it meant for everybody, that the Rebbe wanted. Saying is the Rebbe is probably one of the only Rebbes, if anybody else, who talk about the physical wealth of his Chassidim. That he wants everybody to be rich. He wants everybody to be wealthy. I think even the Rebbe demanded, if you think about retrospect, everybody will wear kapotas and Shabbos. Right.
Silk kapota, which the Rebbe insisted.
Right.
Which I don't know why they don't keep it as much, but the Rebbe talk about silk kapotas is signs of richness.
Right.
Because it costs more money, you have to spend more time wearing it, and you have to, in a few years it's broken apart of it. It's tearing, it's silk, there's something there. You have to buy a new one. There is something there with the Rebbe want Chassidim to be financially set, physically set. The Rebbe cared about this stuff. Which again, I think that my father with it is very serious, that you have to do, the physical world is as important. And if you look at it in retrospect about everything we do, everything we publish, we're one of the only publishers that took care of the outside appearances, not just the content.
Right.
It's also the shape and the format and the, again, if you just show the Rambam and the Mishnah, when you have we have a good partners, the Korean publishing, but it's colorful, it's pictures, there's images, there's information there that might be more interesting.
You're saying your father could have easily said it's more the content, I don't care about the presentation.
I'll make it black and white.
Let everybody just deal with it.
Exactly, and he didn't. From the get-go, he was worried about the shape and the form and so on and so forth. Anyway, I showed the one, even from the first Gemara, 1961, before the first book came in, it's already have images of it.
Uh-huh.
That was a perspective. So it's very similar in that sense. You have to take care of yourself. You have to worry about appearances. You have to worry about to look good.
In a way, it's harder to have. I guess, a Rebbe like that than it is to have a Rebbe that's purely ruchnius. I feel. I think there is almost something intuitive about, the Rebbe's ruchnius, and that's where I'm going to keep him, because that's going to make it feel more respected and higher, and but the real point is that it's not just there. It's not just ruchnius. It's also in, I'm not going to let you. What would be the word? I'm not going to let you. You said spiritualize me. I'm not going to let you.
Idolize me in this level.
Correct. I'm not going to let you spiritualize me. I'm going to force you to see me as I am, and still find respect, or still find something.
Yeah, look, but if you look at it, again, I think it's very apparent if you look at it in that perspective. The Rebbe gave dollars to tzedakah. Right. Usually Hasidim go the other way around. You give tzedakah to the Rebbe. Lubavitch is the other way around. We are the one who receive the dollars.
Right.
And the Rebbe, a lot of times, you see the Rebbe when he talks about, he wants the Gashmias to be good. Take something, take it to another level. The fact that Lubavitcher women are wearing shaitels that cost millions of dollars, it's a concept to Lubavitch. The Rebbe didn't say to cover your hair and put a shmata in your head. You can go to the old-fashioned English wigs, ugly, disgusting, made from horsehair, whatever it is. He wanted people to look good. And it's part of the physical.
Well, he also wanted people to wear shaitel, and he knew that if they didn't feel good about it, they wouldn't wear it.
Right, but I'm saying, but it's exactly the same conversation. If the Rebbe is only a spiritual Rebbe, I gave an order, you do it. Right. You don't ask the question about if I should wear human-made hair and human custom-made and blah, blah, blah. You don't even think about it. You're like, okay, so I have a shaitel and that's it. Look, some of the Hasidim wear shaitel already in Russia.
Right.
I have to say, these things today will not pass anybody as a shaitel. It's not even grade level. But that was part of the thing that Rebbe talked about. So, the physical thing was an important thing.
Mm.
Again, I think obviously, there's limitation to everything, but...
As we approach the 2-year mark of this podcast, Homesick for Lubavitch has become a household name in the Lubavitch community, with thousands of views each week on YouTube alone, as well as thousands more on the various podcast platforms. We have a devoted audience that listens regularly to the conversations and shares their thoughts with their families and communities. If you would like to sponsor an episode or advertise on one of our episodes, please reach out to Bensi at yuvlamedia.com. That's Bensi at Yuvla Media, YUVLA media.com. You kind of mentioned it earlier with Shlem Chaim and the nostalgia of the past, and some of that has accuracy or has truth to it, obviously, but there's also a thing where it's easy. There's this tendency. Well, Lubavitch was then because it has this feeling. There's no internet. People were living this. And it's like, but that's not the kunst. Even if it's true, that's not the point. The point is you have to make it now. the world that feels mundane and feels familiar and feels boring and feels preoccupied with other stuff, and you're waking up and doing the things that feel very, very ordinary.
Right.
That's where it's at. It's not.
Absolutely.
It's not in the world of the romantic world of.
The
So
past.
I think that's a word. I think people like to romanticize the Rebbe, romanticize Lubavitch, romanticize Chassidus.
Right.
And your father's case, he comes to the Yechidus, and like, I'm gonna make the Rebbe my Ruchnius, and yeah, like you're saying, it's interesting that the Rebbe always pushed back, and insisted that you can't romanticize me.
Right. And
You can't romanticize this. We're gonna have a relationship that can feel a little bit too ordinary.
Right. So my father actually asked the Rebbe. I saw it late. It's a book was coming out soon, as we call it here, which we don't know how long that will be soon.
You have a new book coming out.
Yeah, where was the books coming out? It's not a chiddush. I mean, the next one we have, we told you the Mishnah and Rambam in English, which is a big deal, but the book about interviews with my father through the years. It's like a selection of interviews. One interview, he quotes himself saying, "I asked the Rebbe, but two things. One is, what do you feel about the guru-like reverence that people look up to you? People look at you as a guru. Everything you do, every action you do is holy and spiritual." Now I want to ask him, what do you think about using LSD and other drugs? That was probably was the same letter. One day we'll find it, but maybe it was a letter, maybe it was a conversation, I don't know. But you said that the Rebbe answered on the guru thing, said, I could not feel more detached from it.
The Rebbe wrote to your father.
Yeah, or he wrote or he said, I'm not sure. Again, I don't have it in front of me. But
your father said in an interview that he had asked the Rebbe this question, and this was the answer.
I said, there's nothing more detaching. People look at the Rebbe, and my father explained this notion. People look at you like with these big cow eyes. A big, this is not what Lubavitch is. It's not what the Rebbe wanted.
And he didn't like it.
He didn't like it at all. And he said also about the using drugs and so on and so forth.
What did he say about that?
He said, you need to remember that all the chiddush of Chassidus that the Rebbe said is that human have the ability to control themselves. If you have to use other substances, something there is even wronger. It's even wronger than you think. Person take care of himself. That's all the chiddush of Chassidus that you overcome. Yeah, that's a big chiddush. And obviously, if you have doctors and they tell you you have to take them that time, something else. I'm talking about something on a regular basis. This is not a solution.
Yes.
That's two things the Rebbe said. So one of them was about the guru thing. And I think the Rebbe, if you think about it, if you look in a lot of ways, let's put it before 1992, before Tafshin Nun Base, okay? Rebbe didn't like, in a lot of ways, Rebbe did not like this blind, do everything I do. A lot of the things change later. And you look at it took the Rebbe time till, example, he insist or told everybody to pray Rabbeinu Tam.
Right.
I did not have Rabbeinu Tam in Shur Aleph and Shir Oktana. And it was more rare over in my time. In Tafshin Memzayim was already rare. Most people already have two pairs. But it was not unheard of.
Why didn't you have?
My father decided I'm not ready yet. He decided I should be 20 when you should get it.
So your father didn't accept that Bar Mitzvah didn't have?
Yeah, they said you should have Rabbeinu Tam. I agree, but later. I got it when I was 15 and a half when I was sick, but it's part of the thing we did to do more spiritual things. But I did not have Rabbeinu Tam when I started.
So I wanted to ask you, we're talking a lot about your father, which I had this whole conversation about the physical and the spiritual is very, very interesting. But it's not only about your father, I'm talking to you. What was it like for you to grow up in a home where your father is, on one hand, a Lubavitcher? I think is that how you thought of it?
No.
But you're being sent to Lubavitch Yeshiva.
But that was very interesting also.
How did you deal with this dissonance is my question.
I did not. I did not deal with it. I mean, in a sense, look, I was sent, let's put it that way. When my sister was about to go, I think, to elementary school, maybe high school, they asked her where to send her.
Where do your parents live at the time?
And with the still, no, there's a time where they're still in the same place in the German colony in Jerusalem. This is about 2 kilometers.
I'm coming from there.
Right, they live in German colony.
Oh, your parents' home was, that's where you grew up, in the German colony.
Yeah, in Gretz Street.
Yeah, sure.
Gasser Street. Right?
Sure.
So, again, I don't know if she was in high school or elementary school. They asked her where to send her. And the Rebbe did not send us to Lubavitch school.
If the Rebbe's answer was not a Lubavitch school.
We sent her to skip her in Makom Shali Bochafetz. I think it was probably was high school already. Makom Shali Bochafetz doesn't work on elementary school. I think, again, I don't know the date.
But that also means that your parents hadn't sent her to Lubavitch school before.
No, but that I understand. Whatever, they were different.
Your mother considered herself a Lubavitcher?
God. My mother never moved. My mother was Lubavitch through and through.
But
inside out.
But she deferred to your father on these things.
I don't know if she deferred to my father. I think it might be even her decision. Maybe she felt the good education was not good. Can be mother went to the Sorbonne. Mother had a master's in psychology. She might have a different feeling.
So she identified as Lubavitcher, but she didn't do everything like every.
I don't know. That I have no idea how to define it. I don't know where she come from. I don't know.
But you said she didn't budge as a Lubavitcher.
No, I just think she didn't send to school. But she was one of the heads of the Chabad in Yerushalayim. I mean, again.
So she also had this.
Absolutely, but she was much more closer to
the typical
to Lubavitch and much more again, but. We were different.
There's a reason why she married your father.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. There was a reason for that. Listen, she came to Eretz Yisrael. And
so the student that you grew up with... Oh, sorry, continue.
Let's go back to this. She came to Eretz Yisrael and she looked for a class for women in Chassidus. This is 1963, okay?
After she got married.
Before. She came, I think she finished school, and she came here for like post-college.
Right.
Like for a few weeks, few months. She looked for somebody to teach Chassidus class. You understand, 1963, nobody taught women anything.
Right.
And definitely not Chassidus. So somebody told her that he's a rabbi, a young man, not even a rabbi, I think, teaching a class in the president's house, maybe she can get an invitation.
Oh, that's how they met?
That's how they met the first time. And it went on, so on and so forth. But I'm saying, she was very intellectual, very astute. So I understand that, why she did not send. Again, I don't think I'm not even sure what the situation of the community was. Maybe it was too far. It could be 1,000 reasons.
So when we're talking about you growing up with a uncertainty of where exactly you stand, it was not between your parents.
No,
between your parents.
No. It was again. It was a dissonance between the school I went to some of the stuff we did at home.
Correct.
But because my father was a unique person, I could not tell you that was because Lubavitch or anything to do with Lubavitch. It had to do because my father and my mother were different people.
You're saying wherever you would have gone, there would have been
it won't make any difference. I mean, it'd be Lubavitch, it doesn't matter. But then we start going to Tzemach Tzedek. I mean, maybe I was 4 or 5. We went to Tzemach Tzedek already. My father was the acting rabbi of the Tzemach Tzedek shul in the old city.
Right.
Which I'm now running over that. This is my position right now. At least officially, doesn't have any power, obviously, but in the theory, I'm the rabbi of Tzemach Tzedek.
Is it Kiddush better?
No, I mean better. We got to be better than the herring, and we got to build better. It's a bit upgrade this much. I'm saying their choices wasn't because of Lubavitch, not Lubavitch. They were different people. I knew from a very young age, and my father is a different person. Nobody of my friends had a parent like that. First of all, my father was flying a lot relative to people. People we had in the house, nobody could come to school and say, hey, the prime minister of blah blah or the professor so-and-so was yesterday at home.
Right.
I did.
Right.
By
my father's a famous, he's a celebrity.
It was in that sense it was a celebrity. I mean, if he was probably living today, it'd be the rabbi of the Instagram. It was very, very popular.
You think so?
No. I don't think Instagram is the right form, but it can be definitely the voice of the people. Maybe in we'll have a podcast will be very impressive. People listen.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's clearly it was a different house. So the Lubavitch thing was not the issue. They were just different people. You come home. Just imagine that.
So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? You're basically saying. I asked if you felt like you're a Lubavitch. No, we weren't Lubavitch. So what are you? Because
One second. You have to be giving the Rebbe the credit. When I was 13, finished elementary school.
Which school did you go to?
Chorev. It's a modern older school down the street here.
Well, your parents thought it was a good education.
That was the best education at that time. I didn't learn anything, but they thought it's the best education. I personally did not love this too much. They asked the Rebbe where to send me.
Right.
And the Rebbe, without blinking, said to go to Lubavitch Yeshiva.
Why?
Really? Did the Rebbe ever explain to anybody why he does what he does?
No, so how do you? I'm asking if there's if you.
Again, I have a theory. I'm working on it, but it's a theory. Okay. Just again,
because your sister, the Rebbe said.
Rebbe said no, absolutely.
Where she wants.
Where she wants, right? But then I make my stories even better. So I asked.
You have an older brother, or your brother's younger?
I'm the first son.
She's the first son.
She's older than me. My sister's older. I'm after. So the Rebbe said, "Go to Lubavitch." You understand? I didn't want to go. I mean, I went to modern Olympic school.
Right.
Going to Lubavitch seemed like a ridiculous concept in the time. All right. So I forced my father to ask the Rebbe again.
You wore a black hat by bar mitzvah?
Yeah, but I was bar mitzvah.
Right.
I did not pay attention to too much after that. I forced my father to ask the Rebbe again.
Right.
Because I really was not happy with it. And the Rebbe said, about yeshiva. I went to Lud. Okay? We're not going to talk about that, but Lud was an experience.
Enough said.
That was it, right? But when I graduate Lud, when I graduate Lud again, I asked the Rebbe again. And this time I asked, and my father is the one who submitted it because, you get some connection to get answers. I asked the Rebbe where to go. This is Yeshiva G'dala.
Right.
And the Rebbe answer was, Malcolm Shali B'Chafetz. I did go to Migdal Emek, but...
So the Rebbe wanted you for a few years in Lubavitch.
So my theory is that it had to do with the fact that I had cancer after.
You had cancer after?
I had cancer when I was 15 and a half, which was Shir Beis Shiva Ketana. So I believe, and the Rebbe saved my life. It's a famous story.
That's not famous to me.
How long we have? It's a very famous story. I mean, I'm alive.
When was this?
This is now Tafshin Nun.
You're diagnosed with cancer?
Diagnosed with cancer. I had AML4.
And the prognosis is bad?
12%. 12% was survival. And the Rebbe took care. Rebbe basically gave brachas, biyadcha, archava, mleya, psucha, whatever you want. Refuah shlema, yarech yomim, you name it. And the big thing that the Rebbe took responsibility, which my father also mentioned in his book, my Rebbe, is that there was a point there if I should do bone marrow transplant. Right? The doctors in Israel were debating it. There was opinion yes and no, but majority were for doing bone marrow transplant. And we asked the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, no. He said, Sheva al tase adif. And when I came back to the doctors and told them this, they said nobody wants to go for another session of chemotherapy ever. And I came to the doctor smiling and saying, look, the Rebbe said you're basically in a doubt because you don't have one opinion, and therefore I'm not going to do bone marrow transplant. They changed their opinion. They became unison. Came to me, to my father and myself, and said we have to do bone marrow transplant. That's a new decision. So we asked the Rebbe again. The Rebbe said no.
Right.
The Rebbe gave me a bracha then that V'yishor Sham Be'eretz Hanei Hashem Elokecha B'Reshit Shana V'Da'achs Shana, which was a nice blessing by itself. Toch ha'arichus yomim v'shonim teves, toch ha'fatza v'archava b'limud ha'teira. Ha'fatza teira. So the Rebbe took care of me, really, and it's amazing because the stories I heard. Again, I was 15 and a half of cancer, and my feeling about myself was a bit less. Anybody who came to ask a bracha for me, anybody. Next door neighbor, cousins, family, friends of my father, friends of my mother, who came to us, Rebbe, give a brachas. Talk about the refuah shlema bracha batzlach, anything you want. And we know there were other people in the same time that the Rebbe ignored completely.
Right.
So it was very, very unique in that perspective, okay? But then, a graduate Lud, and then ask the Rebbe again. And then Rebbe go back to Makom Shalibo Chavetz.
So what's the connection between the
So I have a feeling that the Rebbe felt that, the Rebbe predict that it's be good for me to be there. Be easier to accept the Rebbe brachas if you're in Lubavitch setting.
Mm.
Again, a theory. I'm still working on it. I'm not sure that is the most accurate thing. It's very obvious that we have things in our life that you only can process them decades and decades after. So, so then you become Lubavitch. You make decisions accordingly. As a child, as a young man.
Right.
That's where, my own perspective changed.
It feels like that. It based on what you said about your father and the Ruchnis Gashmis thing, it feels like you could give a different explanation for your story.
True.
Which is the opposite almost. Which is that after the Rebbe gave you this kind of bracha and saved you, right?
Yeah.
You'd go to Lubavitch. You could lose your. You could lose who if you continue in Lubavitch. You lose your you lose your grounding. You could very easily just completely spiritualize
Your existence. Yeah. True.
You're living on a bracha now, right?
Right. Yeah,
but no. You must remember that you have a libei chafetz and you have to be real.
True. Yeah. There's
saying,
something to that.
I'm just saying
we can talk about the theories. Yeah. Look, it took time. But also it was different. In that sense, Lubavitch was different.
But how do you deal with it is a question. Because
how do you deal with it?
No. How did you deal with it? I'll ask you. I'll explain to you why it matters, at least to me. Okay, at the end, like anybody who doesn't fit in, or doesn't feel like they fit in to the kind of normative, like you have this insider outsider. Position, yes, which I think everybody has on some level. I mean,
sure.
A lot of people have, and some people more, some people less, to either side. One of the biggest challenges of it is, okay, but what about my kids?
Right.
What about my kids? Like, I can basically kind of just do my thing, but then my kids, like, where do they go? So do I put them back in? Like, I have climbed out of the soup.
Yeah.
And I'm holding on to the top of the pot for dear life. So I don't, from the inside, from the outside, I just don't want to fall back in.
Right.
And I have kids now. Am I going to throw them out of the pot, or am I going to throw them back in the pot? Like, is there a way or am I going to insist that they hang on for dear life with me?
I don't know. It's a very big question.
But you know what I'm asking.
Absolutely. And I have a very hard time with my kids. And the same thing, the same idea.
How do you think your father dealt with it?
My father dealt with it. He really believed in the individual growth. So when you decide a way, he supported you. He laughed at you if you thought it was a bit, ridiculous, or a bit, I remember I came back one day from yeshiva and I just discovered, I think I was 14, 15. I just discovered that Lubavitch only eat Lubavitch Chita. I never knew that. And I'm not really sure anybody ever does that, but in the theory of it, that was in yeshiva. When you're bocher, everybody come with shticks and so on. This is one of those.
You came home ki'ilu with a new.
No chota, you did, but yeah. And my mother explained me that it's very cute, but
not here.
Not here. And we, obviously we'll keep Adin, keep kosher, but they don't push it.
Right.
There was not that perspective, and you don't know what's going to happen with your kids. I think my father's perspective was different. He wanted people still want us to grow, to become your own person. And decision, because the way his relationship with the Rebbe was by choice, not by the obedience was made by choice, in that sense. Then, the Rebbe, and that's it. He wanted us to make decisions by ourselves, and I think that's the biggest challenge. How you teach a kid. You want to give him away, but then what happens if the way you have problems? What if the system you have around you is not perfect?
Right. Well, it'll never be perfect.
Right, but obviously, let me rephrase that.
Grossly imperfect.
Yes, or these issues that a parent. What do you do?
Right.
So, a responsible adult says, "I take care of my kids and do the best I can and put them in schools that I think are better.
Right.
And sometimes you pay the price double because it doesn't mean the school was better.
Right.
I feel in general that if you have a good educator, somebody that you fall in love with, so to speak, as a teacher, the school can be hell on earth. But if you have one teacher you look up to, doesn't matter. And that's what moves you. That's what keeps you in the fold or outside the fold, but keep you in the right way. And a lot of time, the system by itself doesn't permitting it. And therefore kids look at it and they come to school, they don't have time to engage with the teacher.
Your father wanted you to be like him?
In Lubavitch perspective?
In general. What was more important to him? He wanted you to be like him? He wanted you to be yourself?
He wants us to be ourselves, but he subconsciously was very clear that he is the pedestal we're looking up to.
What's that?
Looking at the way he acts, the way he behaved, the way he treats Judaism, the way he treats Yiddishkeit, the way he treats Chassidus, that's what you look up to. It was very clear. And when he came to me and asked me in 2003 to come work for him, it took me about a year to accept that.
Why?
Because
it's hard to work under the...
Not just that, but also his policy in general was that he didn't like nepotism in general.
Right.
He said, go do yourself, do whatever you do.
Right.
I worked as a shliach for a year and a half, and then I worked for Hillel on campus for several years.
Here in Eretz Yisrael?
And overseas. I did in the United States, I did in Geneva, I did Virginia, I did New York, then some Baltimore. I did 8 years altogether. Then he came and said, come back home. And I think, in one way he wants you to grow to the best you can, but at the end of the day, this is family. Take care of what the family does.
Right.
But I think it was much more him than me. I think he had something that caused him to come to me and say, come back home.
What do you mean?
I think that he's the one who changed. They said, I want you to come work back to the family. Because it was really hard for him to have somebody in the family taking over, and so it was a process by him.
Mm-hmm.
He really believed in professionals. The people who ran this place were, their perspective were professionals, were not part of the family, not even all the same mindset. Mm-hmm. Professionals with the CEO, CFO, whatever.
You're saying at some point he maybe felt that independence isn't everything.
Right. That you have to be part of it.
Interesting. Very
That's
interesting.
Again, when people ask me now, I'm only 50, but people ask, what's going to happen in the future? So am I taking now his example and keeping my kids away from this place till another 23 years? He was 73 when he chose that when he called me to come work for him. 63. When he asked me to work for him. Is that what I have to do? Do I have to follow exactly the same instruction? Is that a spiritual thing? That you keep exactly the same method? I don't know. I didn't think about it yet really thoroughly. I'm saying he cared, and I think that's what's very important. He wants you to be, as we said at the beginning of the conversation, he wants you the best you can be. Don't imitate me. Don't look at me, as the Rebbe said, don't look at me as a guru. Take what I do, and make and grow with it. In a lot of ways, what he liked people to do was, I'll give you a key and you build a house around it. I'll give you the tools, but then become as big as you can. Grow as much as you can. And even when I came here to the Steinsaltz Center, and he told me, here's the keys, build your house. Really, we moved forward. When I came in here, again, this is my Hebrews, is that, when we started, we had, we didn't finish the Hebrew Talmud yet.
Right.
Tanya was not done. The first 3 years I was here, we finished the Talmud, 2009. And then we took on Talmud in English, which we have everywhere. Mishnah in Hebrew, Rambam in Hebrew, Tanakh in Hebrew.
Right.
Finished the Tanya. I think since I'm here, we printed about 300 titles.
Wow.
And we're about halfway through, maybe a bit less. My father left a tremendous amount of quantity. So yeah, you have to grow. You have to do the best you can to make the most amount of ability that you have.
Hmm.
I keep telling the people, it took me time not to imitate my father, to be my own person. And it takes time. And a lot of time it's very hard to differentiate the differences between his method, his ideas, his concept to what I am. It's acceptable. It takes time, and part of you grow with it, and you have to make decision what is good for you, what's not good for you, what you can do, what you can't do. Just take the time it takes.
Very interesting. You said that your father, which is very interesting. Your father prioritized independence more earlier on, and then it seems like he came around a little bit on that. Did he come around vis-a-vis the Lubavitch identity as well? Like this idea that independence, but then maybe it's more important to have a little bit of a tribe or a little bit of a group.
No.
And that he didn't come
No.
to the end.
No, not to the end. More so, he was actually concerned
Mm-hmm.
that people are just following instructions and not thinking.
Saying to the end he was concerned.
Yeah, it was very concerned. His line was, Lubavitch is a very good at creating junior level commanders,
Right.
junior level officers, but they're not really creating major generals.
Uh-huh.
And it's true till today.
The opposite of Jonathan Sachs.
Yes. In that
No,
sense.
the opposite of the Jonathan Sachs
Right.
line.
No, we create amazing commanders where people are going to run the platoons all the way down. They'll do the right thing.
But not generals.
They're not generals. And if you look at it, again, that's what his perspective was, all the way till then. He did not like conformity in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason my father was famous for his blue shirts, which I personally like, but, he was famous for that.
Right.
He did not wear a white shirt. I mean, he had white shirts.
But the joke is that 30 years earlier, nobody wore white shirts.
Right, obviously. That is.
So you're saying when people changed to white shirts, he refused to go along with it?
When my yeshiva, I made the line, the Rosh Yeshiva decided one day, woke up in the morning and decided everybody should wear this six-piece yarmulkes,
Yeah.
In fact, I had 12 hours conversation with him. It was the longest conversation I had with Rosh Yeshiva about the yarmulkes. In fact, explaining why this is better than regular.
Right.
I don't know. I still didn't figure it out. 12 hours. Didn't get it.
Yeah,
Very important. Yes. And in fact, the shirts have to stop being, colorful. And that was after my time, but that was the movement was there. The shoes, everything became more formation. Father thought it. So I actually had called my father because they threatened to kick me out from Migdal for not wearing the right kippah.
Really?
Yeah, and my father said, as long as in yeshiva, that's the rule of the yeshiva. You need to accept them, the yoke. But outside, no way. I mean, he couldn't. There was something that the fact you want to put him in a box was something that he will literally get upset. And I think everybody, if you think about it, everybody. You're asking somebody, please define Lubavitcher.
Yeah.
And it's a very hard definition. Yes, you have the Mohicans, right? I presume most of my family, the Azimov, the Raskins, yeah, they're all fine. They're all in that box. But these thousands, maybe tens of thousands outside who are 90-70, 95, 94, 40. What do you do with guys who they can take my favorite topic, beards. Don't have beards. But they're Lubavitchers.
Right.
I mean, they're through and through Lubavitchers. The Rebbe, the Sukkos, the Mamorim, the Fabring, the great people. What do you do? Adin, and those who no longer wear capotes, or those who never wear capotes. Those, all these kind of things are Lubavitch is much bigger than that. Now, I believe in that saying that this was always like that. That's actually, I believe that was beginning of time. You had Lubavitchers were 100% in, 90%, 70%.
Of course, yeah.
That's very obvious to me that it was like that. And I'm not sure that everything, I remember the first time I came to the Oitzar Asforim of Lud. There was Oitzer. There was a variety of books there.
Right.
And we learned more than just the Rebbe Mamorim.
Yeah.
People learn everything. I think we even have Breslov in the library.
Uh-huh.
With the years that go by, and it's all become very conformist, very small-minded. It's a problem.
Yeah.
I tell people that one of my advice for shluchim, when people ask me what's the best advice to give shluchim, I said keep learning, because if you're only going to repeat the same sichos, there's always going to be somebody in the last row in the shul in the synagogue. Remember what you said last year.
Yeah.
So you have to continue learning.
Yeah.
You don't want to become very, very limited. And this is something that I think is very important. In general, not to be part of the box. And the Rebbe wasn't.
Right.
I think, I don't know how the Rebbe got his information, and I'm sure people did research on it. In fact, the Rebbe knew what's going on in the world.
Right.
From art to data, the information, military, social, whatever. Rebbe knew that. Somebody had to fit it in.
Right.
Okay? And the Rebbe did it. And the Rebbe cared about it. The Rebbe had a world. I heard several stories, but the Rebbe tells somebody, go see a show.
Right.
You stay in New York, go to the zoo. Go to New York, go to the show. Rebbe gave a very spared thing. And the biggest, my father in that sense, never wanted to limit the Rebbe.
Don't make me ruchnis.
It's exactly the same line. Don't make me only ruchnis. The Rebbe was, think about it, the Rebbe had Machne Yisrael.
Yeah.
Machne Yisrael is the most bizarre thing.
You're talking about the development fund.
Yeah, the development fund. The Rebbe, there's a bunch of rich people.
Right.
That Lubavitch convinced many years to go, year by year, give a nice check. Those times were big checks. 100 grand, I think, was the minimum requirement. And if you look at the pictures of it, which these pictures, they came as couples usually.
Right.
Not always. And they talk to the Rebbe as couples. They conversate. It's different.
Right.
I hear now a lot of Rebbes, they don't talk to women.
Right.
Very important not to talk. This is Pasnish Lubavitch.
Right.
That's the reason when we talked about it, that we mentioned about the good old days. Yeah, people believe the good old days because we didn't have internet. There was other things. Lubavitch, at least what the Rebbe taught us. Again, I'm not sure it was always like that. That the world around us is our tool to use.
Right.
And I'm sure if the Rebbe was alive now, we will have an Instagram page. Again, hopefully.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, somebody will have. I'm sure there's now Instagram page of the Rebbe. Twitter account for sure. Not question about that. Facebook.
Huh.
I'm not sure about TikTok. Okay, maybe TikTok was a bit too low, but
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that's with the Rebbe made this broadcast from
It's
nobody thought about it.
It's an interesting question to think about. Yeah.
You have to take it as we have to use every tool we can to bring people back home. Now, I just believe that the home we have is a very big home. You don't have to be in one small little box. Not
Right.
to be, it's a very big room.
Right.
As somebody here mentioned the experience that we come to Jerusalem and you realize it's not only about the small segment of the population.
I said that.
Yeah, I know. That person. You know what I'm saying? But that's exactly the point. The first time when my father actually told me after I got married, my father actually wanted to be outside. He said, you have to see the Jewish people. You have to see the way they actually are. It's not only about the 10 Orthodox people in the community, or the 2, or the 0. It's much more than that. Judaism is much more diverse than that. And I think when Rebbe sent people outside, that's what he meant. That you bring in out. Obviously, you've been exposed to things. When you're a Bocher and you're going to Shlichus, going to Mitzrayim in Manhattan, not everything you see is Taras HaKodesh.
Right.
And the Rebbe didn't care.
Right. I mean, he cared. He felt that they could
Bring light to the world.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, I will take the chances.
Right.
Because if you really do good and you care about what you do, that's where it is. A person like myself, get instruction from the Rebbe to continue my life from a fatzah and limud Torah. I take it seriously. Now, the Rebbe gave it a promises to a child who has cancer. Right? Any hope will be good, but you take it seriously. You have an impact. You start taking things, and I think the Rebbe gave all of us a lot of instructions. You have to find what fits you. Some person for them doing Mivtzoim every single morning, going to put film on people, that is the light of the nation. Some people was about doing political work.
Right.
And you have to find the right way. What's the right tool? I'm 100%. This is my belief. The Rebbe did not Rebbe had the conversation about the public and the whole and everybody should do A, B, C, D. But some people never learn Chitas. Some people never learn Rambam.
Right.
I don't want everybody to do so. But Rebbe understood that not everybody fits to that.
Right.
I do whatever I can to make everything accessible and available. So, what I promised my father to finish all these sets, Gemara, Mishnah, Tanakh, Rambam, and Tanya, do it both in Hebrew and English. Which, thank God, we're getting close now to finish the Mishnah and Rambam. But even that, I made a decision in the Rambam that we'll have the Rebbe comments on the Rambam, in our Rambam. In my father commentary, we'll add the Rebbe notes, which was the first book we ever did this. Because I think the Rebbe wanted people to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
And even that is, if you take that perspective, I'm sorry I'm going tantrum here, but it's in my
You have
mind.
to talk to the microphone, though.
Sorry, it's very clear to me that the Rebbe specifically used Rambam and not Talmud.
Why?
Because it's a great perspective on victory. You have success every 3 weeks. You finish another book. Talmud, you learn sometime, and you spend a half a year learning one tractate, and there's nothing. And the fact you don't remember anything, but that's a small detail.
Yeah.
I think the Rebbe vision of it is unbelievable. Basically, the Rebbe circumvent the business. Said, you would tell me you're learning Daf Yomi every day, which is very important, obviously. But hey, how much you remember, how much you hold.
Right.
Rambam, 15 minutes. And it's Hebrew. Now, I'm soon going to be good English, but it's very clear.
Right.
You have a success constantly. And that, again, back to the physical concept. He wants you to feel good.
Right.
You finish now, people now learning Daf Yomi Maseches Zvachim is a hard tractate, and it's not really as edited as other tractates. So you go to Daf Yomi every day for between 80 days or 90 days. What do you remember from it? Garnished. Rebbe wants Rambam. It's easy, it's accessible, it's available.
Yeah, what about Hilchos Taurus in the Rambam?
Still, how long it takes.
Right.
And you remember, and it's this small. In the end of the day, it's one book.
Right.
And week later, you have another victory because you finish Mishnah, you finish this and that. It's this concept that the Rebbe looked at it 40 years ago. So I think that there's a perspective here. The Rebbe was really smarter than most people, not all.
Mm-hmm.
And he played the game well. And I think that this is part remember when we had a conversation internally here about if to do a website and a portal. That was the good old days in the early 2010s, and people thought, we're still going to buy books, and it's very important, your security, or, people going to copy it. And in retrospect, really, somebody going to take my Talmud and print a book in his home, all 900 pages? Really? One tractate. I'm not talking about the whole set.
Right.
Obviously not. You make it available and accessible. We made our app. We made, I think, 12 different cycles of learning. So you can choose whatever you want is available. You don't have excuse. That's what Rebbe wanted. Rebbe took the very practical initiative, not only spiritual. Back to the same concept. It's a interesting perspective if you're taking that view. Very practical, very do things, and not just deal with the spirituality of it.
Well, the project should be with a lot of hatzlacha. When's it coming out?
The
Rambam in English.
So the first volume of the Rambam just went to print now, Sefer Mada Hava. It's a nice book. It's going to be out, and immediately, as we speak now, I think next 2 weeks, Zmonim will go to print.
Oh, wow.
We're scheduled to finish the entire thing by 2020, the end of 2027, in 2 years. Finish the entire set. So you have a set of 8 volumes of the Rambam. We hopefully also to have it in soft cover, so people can buy a booklet instead of the entire book and walk around with it. And similar, at the same time, we also do the Mishnah in English.
Wow.
It'll be a bit bigger. Yeah, it's all, I'm very happy. My partners in Koren, actually, they're good.
Should be with a lot of hatzlacha.
As we
And
can.
thank you very much for making the time.
Sure.
And should be with a lot of hatzlacha.
Amen. Amen.
But Begashers uveruchnius.
Yeah, as the Rebbe said from Sarah Agra, I suffered enough. My father suffered. We would like to have some Agra here.
All right.
Here.
All right.
Very nice.
Amen.
All right. Thank you.
The music for this podcast comes from the album Repentance Doors by Oren Tzor Nadav Bachar and is used with their permission.